Okay, so I see this little notification. We're live on YouTube. So how does this work technology wise? We're doing this through Zoom, but it's going straight up to YouTube.
Right. Zoom tunnels out to YouTube and uses YouTube as the streaming entity.
Okay. Okay.
And we are going to record once we start and post after.
Yes.
Yes.
That could be ugly, but let's do it. So what we said was if somebody would like to say something or interrupt, just raise your hand physically and we'll call on you.
Okay.
But otherwise,
we
let
mute ourselves.
persons, I don't hear a lot of feedback.
I just heard my clock going off out there telling it.
I know. It just makes it more personal. It's okay. We are actually people. All right, 6:01. I'm going to look at my agenda. So I've got another screen. So every once in a while, I'll be looking to the side, not ignoring anybody or doing something else. Let me find the agenda. Oh, come on now. Where are you? There we go. All right, we will call this meeting to order of the Oberlin City School Board. Roll call.
Dr. Regis?
Yes.
Dr. Regis?
Dr. Regis?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh yeah. Oh, now I see you. Okay.
Ms. Sham?
Here.
Mr. Williams?
Here.
Dr. Brony?
Here. For those just came on, the shared screen might take up your whole monitor. If you go up to the top where it says view options, you can exit full screen. So you can still see see us. All right, adoption of agenda for this meeting. Moved.
So
So
moved.
moved. Oh, second.
You got that, Bob?
Yeah, that was Mr. Williams and Mrs. Sham.
Wasn't me, but I can, second it.
It was first and second.
Maybe we should go with the hands. This is first and somebody else be second. All right.
Perfect. Perfect.
Okay.
All right. Roll call. Hold on a second, just a minute.
Need to-
Modifications.
Yeah,
Yeah, some
modifications.
changes.
Need to read the modifications.
Modifications are Barb Stadler, removed as a limited contract. We're going to add Allison Stevenson to a 2-year contract, item 3. And we're going to change the board meeting from May 19th to May 22nd,
Second.
5:30, and it's a Friday. And the reason for moving that, I think, is important. We're not just shifting things around for yucks. A lot of the documents that are involved with the construction project, the facilities project, won't be ready on the 19th. We need to vote on those to keep those moving forward. Even in this time, the business of this district still moves forward, and we have to keep that moving. So that's why we're moving it. All right, going back. Any other adjustments, changes? We're good? All right, roll call.
Dr. Regis?
Yes.
Dr. Stanley?
Yes.
Ms. Sham?
Yes.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Dr. Brony?
Yes. All right, with this new format, we've sent out notices to the community and said if there were any citizens' concerns on the agenda or citizens' concerns at the end, to please mail them in. And there were links and information on the district website on how to do that. I ask, were there any citizens' concerns sent in?
No, we do not have any at this time.
All right, then let's move forward. news of note in presentations, David? Dr. Hall, sorry.
Okay, that's fine. I'm going to have TDA provide, switch it to a B facilities update. So they want to provide a facilities update for us. We have our COVID-19 update, but that may be a little longer. So I switched it over to TDA to provide, and Mr. DiNicola, and also Green Space. Let the board and the community know that we are on time and on schedule at this time with the construction project.
Are we under budget?
We won't know that till the bids come in.
Yeah.
All right, all right,
We're waiting on the bid.
all right.
We're going to be pretty close, but we're not over. If we are, we still have the funding for it.
Good.
Okay. So I'll turn it over to Tim.
I don't see them on.
Okay.
This is Brad, so I'll step in unless they're there.
No, I think it's just you, unless Steve might want to check to see if everybody was admitted.
He's checking.
Okay, Brad, you want to start them off?
Okay. As far as construction progress, GMP2 site work is underway. You notice that there is a webcam up that Steve can get you a link to. So you can watch in real time what's happening, including seeing the birds fly over. The drawing, sorry.
Yeah, can we actually post the link in the chat?
Yes, we can get that posted on the website.
Yes, that will be posted on the website.
Oh, I meant on the chat right now.
Oh,
That way, when we record it, it'll be there for people to see as well.
I think we barely got the slideshow up. So.
All right. Well, if we can, great. If not, it'll be on the website. Sorry, Brad, go ahead.
That's fine. Then the GMP3, which is the main construction project, those drawings are out to bid. Those are the pricing that you'll be reviewing at your May 22nd board meeting. Those drawings include everything except the technology and furniture package. Those packages will be bid later because technology changes and we want to have the latest model. We don't want to order the furniture too early. So that will be probably bid in October or November this fall. All the things that you've asked for are in the drawings. And I think the most exciting news is that Dr. Hall and John Peterson from the college secured a Green Edge Fund sustainability grant to continue the dashboard system that you now have at the 2 elementary schools. And the equipment from that grant is going to be purchased as part of the building package of this package that's out to bid now, and the incorporation of the data loggers and the equipment to supply the information to that dashboard will be included. So the educational opportunities presented by that dashboard, including the fish and squirrel animations for energy and water use, and the actually enhanced data so that you can have better competitions between blocks of classrooms and get real-time data on who's using the most energy, as well as data from the music room and gym and administrative area. And you'll find out if the administrators are burning the midnight oil or not. There will also be feedback from the solar energy on the, there's a demonstration project that Dr. Hall has been talking to EnerLogic about. And at our meeting last week, they're going to be doing as part of their larger array, an array on the elementary school that will feed into the dashboard. So that's kind of an update. And unless you have, or Dan has anything to add or other comments or questions.
I don't have anything to add. I think you covered it all, Brad.
Thank you.
Anybody have any questions for Brad or Dan?
So Steve did share the link in the chat.
Mm-hmm. Looks like a big field where they're doing construction.
Does indeed. A lot of cement, a lot of equipment, a lot of dirt.
Yeah,
Right.
That's neat. That's exciting.
Yeah.
And it covered up my agenda. So hold on a second.
So Dr. Hall, is that what you need me for tonight?
Yes, to see if the boards have any other questions for you.
I'm very interested in seeing the plans before the meeting on the 22nd. That's really the that will say where we're going and give us something concrete.
Yeah, I'll leave that up to Dr. Hall and Dan.
Yeah, I think did I send you a copy of the plans?
Maybe.
Okay. Yeah, I think we'll I'll send them out again.
Yeah.
I think we sent some
Please do.
enough copies because they're still changing because nothing is concrete at a time. So
Right.
these are all tentative. We can move a wall this way or that way.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll check and see, but hopefully we have everything in there. We're still looking at our alternative items that we may place in there. So usually once we get back the assessment of how much money and everything else, extra funding to add this or add that to the building as well. But we have secured all the items, the extra gym space, the wooden floors, the canopies, terrazzo flooring, and those things are included in the drawing.
Wow. Ken, you had something?
Yeah, I was simply curious, what sorts of steps are being taken as a result of the COVID-19. I think the community needs to know that we're not just ignoring this.
Yes, I'll speak for Green Space. I know that they have a nurse at the gate, entry gate, and the temperature of the workers is taken when they enter, and they're also given a series of questions to see if they have any symptoms before they're allowed. And because of this early site package that doesn't have a lot of workers, it's easy for them to maintain proper social distance.
I'll just jump in here. The OFCC sent out guidelines. If you wanted to keep a construction site open, all the things you had to do. And like Brad said, there's a nurse on the site full time. They take people's temperature, ask them a series of questions. If the nurse feels there's something suspicious, they're not admitted to the site. If everything's fine, they're allowed in. Restrooms have to be cleaned every hour. I think they're providing some face masks to a few people. I'm not sure on that one. But like Brad said, the site's really limited to a small group of contractors and they're spread out right now. So we're hoping once the governor starts to change his directives, the Facilities Commission will also change theirs. And then if they come out with a new set of guidelines, we'll follow those, or maybe they'll just remove them altogether.
One of the things we did have to do was close off the Oberlin High School Park Street entranceway. And that was due to securing the site so that the workers come in one area, the site come into one entrance point, so that the health professional is there taking temperatures and secure the site area. Sometime in May, and we find out what the governor guidance is, we'll be able to secure and road around that area so that we can open back up the Park Street. But for now, we had to secure it due to COVID-19 and making sure all the workers are healthy and working.
So this probably isn't a building question, but it could be. Is there anything we're thinking of putting into the building or in the design of the building that will that addresses some of the issues that we've seen with COVID that weren't there when we first designed it?
The big thing for COVID, as you probably know, that's an aerosol,
Mm-hmm.
and it's the spread of that aerosol, which it's really how it lands on surfaces.
Right.
So I think the big thing is going to be more cleaning than anything else. Plus, you have a modern HVAC system that can filter, but the
Mm-hmm.
drawings were really finished before COVID hit, and because of the way, and I'm on the an AIA Sustainable Leadership Group, and we've been having active discussions on the COVID crisis. And actually was on a call about it yesterday. And I think the big thing is it's very hard to get enough separation. We'd have to make the school so huge.
Right.
That I don't think you can really design your way around it, at least for a cost that is affordable.
Right.
Probably not
Okay.
the answer you want to hear, but I think that's.
No, I think it is the answer, really. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, sure.
Well, and I think the key answer is that, you've been thinking about it, and
Right.
and that's important. And I'm just going to say personally, I don't see us being able to. I mean, we're not bending the curve down. We sort of, as a nation and as a state, we've stopped it from growing exponentially, and that's terrific. But we're way, way above where we were March 12th, when this, or whenever it was, mid-March when this was shut down. So I don't see what justification there would be. It's not the decision we have to make, but I'd be surprised if maybe Dr. Regis would like to, give his thoughts on that. Yeah, I don't see us being able to eliminate the social distancing in a big way until at least we get back to where we were when we started this. It seems like kind of a minimum to me. And so my guess is I think this will affect the construction. I think it will.
Oh. I thought you were thinking about start date, but we're not going to go there. That's a process that is ongoing. We're not sure where we're going to be.
Right. No.
But kind of leading into what David's going to talk about is that we have been thinking about what's going to happen. I have a kind of unique vantage point, I think, that I'm in sort of the business of education at higher ed level, and the college has been dealing with this issue and trying to figure out how to make it work. My wife is sitting in the other room every day trying to make it work for PK through 12. And my daughter's upstairs taking classes. So I'm seeing this from many different vantage points. I'm feeling the frustration. I'm feeling worried. And I really, really empathize with the community, the parents, and the students. Having said that, I do see a lot of care and thought going into how instruction is being continued in the Oberlin district. And it's hit or miss. There are some that are really gravitating and doing a great job, some that aren't, but we have to remember this is all new for all of us and for all of the teachers. They're trying to continue to educate in a way that they just were not trained to do. So they're learning on how to use the technology at the same time as trying to figure out how to keep the kids engaged in an environment where the kids aren't there. So I think the community has been patient. They've been forgiving, and I hope they continue to be patient and forgiving, and also be partners in this. If you see something that might help, call the teacher. If you can't get a hold of the teacher, call the principal. If that doesn't work, get in touch with Dr. Hall. If you want, you can get in touch with any of us. It's a partnership, and we have to work together to make this work for the kids, for the parents, and for the teachers. And so far, I think we're doing that. And Dr. Hall, what do you think? You ready?
Yes.
All right.
Thank you, Brad.
Thanks, Brad.
Thanks, Dan.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Dan.
First, I'd like to tell the community and our staff that we do appreciate their support and patience through this process. And we understand it's difficult at home going through this process with the home learning opportunities. Our teachers have established office hours to provide support, and I know a lot of our teachers are trying to provide as much support as possible. And like Ms. Baroni said, or Dr. Baroni said, I do encourage the family members to reach out to the teacher if you have any other questions or talk to myself, the principal, the teachers. We help each other through this process. So, and I'll start our Oberlin City Schools COVID-19 and some updates that we've been doing. So far, we have about 75 to 80% of our students participating in activities online in packets since March 17. We administered a survey for the teachers and to see how much contact they're having with students, how many students are turning in work, how many of them are actually communicating back with them through Google Classroom or the packets. From the first initial closure period, we did have a lot of students turn in work, and teachers have been grading them and looking them over. So we're about 75 to 80% are participating in activities. We have about 20-25% of students not participating, and they're contacted with a wellness check. So we're constantly trying to do wellness checks with the parents and with the students to make sure, well, are you able to get online? Do you have access? Do you have computers? What can we do to provide support for you to engage in academics occurring at the school? And one of the things later I'll discuss is we have administered about 250 students and families. And we also have a partnership with a cable co-op in a city that provided about 50 internet connections to families as well. And we do have our tech department have reached out to some of the families that are out of the cable co-op area. We reach out to Spectrum and try to connect them up with different resources so they can provide, so they can receive internet services as well.
Yeah, so what's your sense from the wellness checks? What's your sense of the primary reason that 20 to 25% are not participating?
A lot of them are, you have the parents either working or you have them at home. There's a lot of different scenarios going on outside the house. Communicate with the parents there. They want to be supportive. They want to help. Some of the students may didn't tell them that, hey, oh, I didn't know we had to do this piece or that piece. I thought it was all paper and film. So I didn't know I was able to communicate with the student through Zoom or these avenues. So by talking to the parents and the students, it have increased the number in some areas where, of course, tell the parent that, yes, you can communicate with it. These things going out, then go to the house, the parent will look at their child and say, you never mentioned this to me. And so it has increased in some areas for some of them. There's a lot of things going on at the house, and this with COVID, some of the parents have, we have one.
David, you cut out.
I think Bob's still moving.
The what?
I just saw Bob's head move. So Bob's was on, but we can't hear.
Yeah, David's frozen and so has the screen share. So maybe Bob should unmute and David should mute, and we'll go through that one. Hey, Bob, why don't you switch with David? Or we could just have David log back in.
Yep. Oh, sorry. That's all right. All right. I'm sorry. The slideshow, my computer went off completely.
Oh.
Oh, you got it on me still?
No, it's open. I just gotta turn off mine.
Okay. Here?
Yep.
Okay. My computer went off completely and shut down. So Ken, I hope to answer your question a little. I'm not sure where I cut off at.
I think you cut off right at the beginning.
Well, a lot of different scenarios going on at the house with the parents. We have elderly couple who may have had their child and they place their child at a different location. So until the COVID crisis calmed down a little bit, you have scenarios where both parents are working and so they can't get to the work. But some of the parents just didn't know or unaware of what that their kid had work to do or communicate with their parents or any of these things. So we have a lot of different scenarios of why that 20 and 25% have not done anything. Of course, you have some students where we're out of school, viewed as we're out of school. No, you're still in school.
Right. Well, that was very helpful.
Albert, thanks.
Yeah. Where are we here? There you go.
Okay. And some highlights for the district, just to keep the community informed and the board of what's been going on with the district. We've been recognized by NAM again for the 2020 Best Communities for Music Education this year. And also Oberlin High School were recognized U.S. News and World Report for the best high school for 2020. We ranked 939 in national rankings, 32 in Ohio, and 11 in the Cleveland, Ohio metro area high schools. And this ranking was on more than 24,000 public high schools in 50 states. And as Brad mentioned, Oberlin College Green Edge Fund granted about $45,000 to the district for environmental dashboard. And Dr. Peterson was instrumental in assisting in writing a grant for that as well, which allowed us to have dashboard into our new school and some new inventive ideas there. The next step is we're hoping to have charging stations for vehicles as well. And vehicle charge stations will be tied into the dashboard. And I would like for the staff, our community and the board to know, we mentioned about training for our staff. This is a new area for them. So we've been providing ongoing professional development for them. Google Classroom, interactive worksheets, boom cards, and these are just some of the trainings that we have offered for our staff members, not just our teachers, but also our support staff has engaged in these trainings as well. Kristen Miller and Steve Nilsson have both been leading the training for a lot of our staff. And something that's coming shortly, we're also going to have parent training as well. Some of the parents we found out that said, hey, what's the Google Classroom? They have no idea how to get the assignments their kids are doing. So we're going to have some parent training opportunities on Google Classroom, Google Meet, Zoom, and Google Calendar. So hopefully that can increase participation. We also have training on additional resources and websites. Kristen Miller does a website of the day for our staff. And this provides them with different types of instructional tools they can use to enhance instruction. And each day they have different ones they can go on, explore, work with, and they can build into their lesson plans throughout the day. Our cable co-op, our technology access funds, we are aware of the equity issues within Oberlin, and some families do not have cable access or technology access or computer access. So far to date, we have about 50 cable co-op free installations for families. Families will have services until June the 30th. So when we wrote the grant and worked with the city, we realized we may have a summer programming opportunity for our students. So by doing that, we said, well, we want the internet service to last at least till June 30th for our students. So the next phase of the project or the situation here, we'll start developing a summer program. And I'll talk about that a little later. We have about 253 computers distributed to over 150 families. We have 30 families pick up, we still need 30 families to pick up laptops. So we're still working with 30 families, making phone calls to see if they can come pick up the laptops. And we've been offering afternoon hours and day hours for parents to come pick up laptops. And a lot of community members have been inquiring about the athletic situation. Of course, Ohio High School Athletic Association, they really guide the district on a lot of decisions we make. So they have canceled the spring sports. And like many of the answers we're getting, they're building and playing as it goes. This is new for everyone. So we're getting pieces of answers. But the fall, we're still not sure about the fall. We're still not sure about eligibility in fall. We're not sure about will we have sports in the fall. Those are things we're taking guidance from the Ohio Athletic Association to provide for us. We do know that coaches and school administrators are encouraged to have mandatory electronic and online communication with their student athletes. So they should have no athletic physical contact or training with them at this time until the governor provides more guidance. So we get information, emails daily regarding athletics and also about academics as well.
David, we had a question. Ken, did you have a question? You're muted.
There was a parent survey on the previous slide. Did you talk about that?
Yes.
Yeah.
The phone survey, Steve Nilsson sent out a phone survey, pretty simple for all the parents. Then inquired whether, do you have internet or don't you have internet? So the survey that he sent out, and it would send us back the people that replied, no, we don't have internet services or technology access. They would send back a quick response, a button no, and we'll get the address and we'll follow up phone calls for them. So that was a survey we sent out for internet technology access. We have 17 families with 28 students on the list that we're still trying to communicate with and trying to acquire technology for them.
Okay, so it sounds like other than the 17 families and the 28 students that you're still working on, as far as you know, everybody else has internet capability and a laptop or a computer. They have the computer capability they need. Is that right?
As far as we know, we've been sending out communications, a lot of flyers going out, a lot of emails. We're still not sure. As far as I know, these are the best numbers, and we encourage our families, if you do not have internet or technology, please let us know so that we can try to work with you.
So on the financial side, we get support from the state based on daily attendance, right? What
Yes.
are we counting? What's the state mandate for counting daily attendance? And if you don't want to get into that or want to get that just occurred to me.
Right now, the state has not issued out any guidance for that. They just said, that's why we did a computer piece, provided with access. So, but as far as the daily attendance sheet that we turn in, the state have not provided any guidance on that. I assume as this progress on in the fall, and they will develop some kind of an attendance piece for them.
Okay. Well, I actually think that's good news. I think we should be focusing on educating our kids and not counting them. But it's nice also to know which students are showing up. I'm sure we do. So
Yes. Mm-hmm. So that's our athletics. Breakfast and lunch meals. Providing free meals on Monday and Thursdays to students in pre-K to 12. That's at Eastwood and Prospect Elementary, Mount Zion, and Dollar General. We started a program off at Eastwood and Prospect. Prospect, we have more meals going out, or Eastwood, we have more meals going out than Prospect. So we branched out to Mount Zion and Dollar General in the last 3 weeks to increase our meal participation. Right now, we currently distribute about 250 pickups a day for meals. And we like to encourage our community members to, we know your situation, some situations have changed at home where your financial situations have changed. It's not too late to turn in a free reduced lunch form. The free reduced lunch form will not carry over to all of next year, but to the beginning of next year. So if your financial situation has changed, please turn in a free reduced lunch form, because that can be utilized for now and also beginning of next year. Then we'll reassess, I believe in September sometime for next year. I know everyone's been worried about graduation. It changed constantly. We're constantly getting emails from Ohio Department of Education, and they actually, every day we make a plan, and then all of a sudden you get a guidance from the Ohio Department of Education, changes everything. We develop a graduation plan for outside for our students, and we develop various different ones. Then recently, the Ohio Department of Education sent out emails explaining that school districts should conduct graduation ceremonies and recognitions events in a remote manner that honors each student in a safe, responsible way. So that's the guidance the Ohio Department of Education has provided for us at this time. We're working with Mr. Frank, have been doing a phenomenal job. We met with senior and junior students and faculty to discuss options. We're meeting with senior parents tomorrow and discuss different ideas, but I think they're close to brainstorm different ideas for graduation. And the parents, we do feel for you. We love to have the traditional Finney graduation. However, due to circumstances, we're not able to have this at this time. Any questions? I know Ken had a couple questions for graduation.
Jason has a question, but he's muted.
No, can't hear you, Jason. No.
Okay.
There we go. Heard that.
You heard that?
Yeah, there you go. You're in.
Okay. All right. Quick question on the technology funds. Are we only providing internet access and computers for students, or is this like district employees as well?
These are students. The internet access are for students, and the computers are for students.
Okay.
Next steps.
Wait, following up on that, but our teachers obviously have to have internet access, and they do, I assume.
Yes. No, I have not had any teachers notify me they don't have any internet capabilities or computer at home that he cannot access.
And yes, I would like to hear, I know it's changing every day, but I'd like to hear where we stand on graduation. And but it's great that you're talking to the parents and the seniors, as those are the most important by far.
Currently now we're looking at either some kind of different models out there. We had staff talk to Johnson's about remote plan. We'll know more by the end of this week of what it may look like. A lot of these meetings with the parents tomorrow will determine a lot of what kind of ideas we have. Some districts are having some of the students come in to their schools and take a graduation photo, and then assemble all the graduation photos together, and that's the graduation ceremony, and have speakers that come in. So right now we'd like to hear from the parents to find out what's their vision, and we want to share some different ideas that other schools are doing within the area here. The gathering piece is a concern, and our staff is currently right now working on different ideas for different things. Whether it's a family parade that we can do, go by to different homes and drive by and blow our horns and things like that for them. But we're trying to plan different creative ideas and keeping safe at the same time without the social gathering piece.
Thank you.
I don't want to say too much graduation, because last time I said something, it was in the paper, Dave Hall's having a virtual graduation and everything else. So I really don't want to go down that road. So they're working with the parents on that, and we'll determine something by next week. The next steps. District Remote Learning Plan Committee. In the summer, we need to think about the fall. And we meet with the health department, we meet with the superintendents, the senator, we meet with the House Representative Joe Miller every Friday. And the guidance we're getting now, we don't have any idea what the fall is going to look like. So their suggestion was to possibly have 3 plans for the fall. You have online learning opportunities plan that the governor has not given us guidance yet. Blended instruction, whether it's online in school, or we have a full day session with interventions for students during that time. So in the summertime, we'll try to develop 3 different plans to enter the fall in. But right now, it changes all the time. So we're not sure what the fall is going to look like. We can in the July sometime, we'll start thinking of a plan, and we may have to alter it.
So the full day interventions for students, is that basically what we had prior to this?
We'll just have, we know there may be some learning gaps within instruction. So the full day with the interventions for students, we know if we have a regular school day, we're going to have to involve some tutors, some intervention periods, maybe some after school learning opportunities for students that we did this year. Those things will have to be established, but a lot of that depends on, maybe the governor say you're only allowed to have 5 hours of social activity or 6 hours. We're not sure, but we do know or aware that we're going to have to devise some expanded opportunities for our students for education.
So my camera's frozen, but
but we can hear you.
Okay, good. So my question, I've gotten questions from community members about, it's not always phrased positively, but how are we going to ascertain if the kids have fallen behind is the nicest way to say it. And, you know, if we're doing packets, if we're doing like these simple things, we're not doing a lot of assessment. And so what we just keep hearing is, trust us, the kids are going to be fine. We're all going to get through this, which is, of course, the logical answer to give. That's the only thing we can say at this point. But as we start to think about moving forward, how are we going to determine where the kids are, where those gaps are, where those interventions are needed?
One of the tools we have, and as a leadership team and as with teachers, we want to talk to them more about it, but we do have the iReady program, which will identify different standards that are short on, different for each individualized student. So that'll give us some data back in the fall if students come back, do the assessment pieces with them. So that'll target our intervention pieces as well. We'll know exactly pretty much where we are, which students may need more reinforcement on word vocabulary or those things. But that's going to help us out in pre-K probably to or K-9. So that data will go up to those teachers, and they're going to have to do assessment when students come back in to find exactly where they are, and also for standards. Are the students doing iReady from home? Some of them are doing iReady for home, and some of them are not. iReady, we don't want it to become the piece of instruction, primary piece of instruction. iReady does not take the place of a teacher, do not take the place of those type of things, but they're used as they're just one tool as many tools for the kid. So I think in the next round here in May, when we give out our next Google instructional pieces, we were very cautious of not giving iReady as primary intervention for the first couple of sessions when school was closed, because we did not want parents to, hey, go in for an iReady, do 2 hours on iReady. And, you know, if you go on that's not what it's used for. It's used for, you're only supposed to do about 45 minutes a week on iReady. So it's not for be used every day for 40 minutes, an hour. Students should not be doing that. So we're very cautious of providing that, encouraging teachers to use that as instructional tool. And I guess I think Ken had a question. And one of the things we are going to do is we are trying to offer summer learning opportunity. We have a summer learning opportunity committee, and we'll have that. They're going to start meeting probably next week sometime, and that will consist of teachers and administrators, title teachers, support staff, to develop a summer learning opportunity for our students starting after school in June sometime to the end of June. That's why we have the internet to June the 30th. So we'll start planning for that in May. What it's going to look like, we're not sure. We can develop a plan, and all of a sudden, June 1, we have to develop another one. We are thinking of developing 2 plans where we have the blended model, or we may have the model with all online instruction. One of the things we do want to work with is having actual, like an algebra lesson from 9 to 10, and maybe another algebra lesson. That teacher will have another algebra lesson from 11 to 12 and different times periods. So that teacher, we know our students are missing that direct contact with instruction with students. It's almost more like a college model type of deal. But you know, that the summer learning opportunity will be able to guide that piece and what can they do for the summer. It will also give us an idea of what can we do in the fall as well. So it's almost like a pilot program for the fall. So if we see the blended learnings working and use different learning opportunities working, then maybe we can pilot this for then. We still have a lot of things we got to work out with that, as far as busing, transportation, but a lot of this is guided by the governor, and 6 feet apart. How do we keep 6 feet apart on the bus, get them to school? We're not sure yet on those areas, but we do know we have to start thinking about summer and the fall.
Has there been any thought given to starting early so that you could take a longer break during the regular flu season, so that the flu and the overlap of the corona don't coincide? We could give them so you give them a longer Christmas break by starting them early, because that's essentially when flu season starts. And when you combine the two, it becomes very dangerous.
Yeah, we're gonna have to consider a lot of things, because we're not sure. And Albert, Dr. Bronessa is a pretty good assessment too. That's one of the options on the table, but we're not sure if the governor's gonna say fall, hey, no one goes back until that time period. One of the other
Right.
concerns we have too is online as well. If we do open up in the fall, we may have an attendance issue as well. Some of the parents may not send their kids back in the fall. And we have to also start planning for, if that happens, then we need an online opportunity for our students too as well. They're at home. So
Right.
that's going to be a lot of different plans we're going to have to start creating and thinking about, whether it's starting school late, starting early, or maybe we can start late, and because we do have enough days, maybe we can start in September sometime instead of August. The governor may relieve some of these restrictions by then. We're not sure.
Yeah, I always thought starting late was not the best option, but that's just me, because that just forces the two flus to overlap, basically.
No, but the governor may say, hey, in September, you guys can go full back to school all day in September. Okay, then it doesn't, I would hate to start them off online for 2 weeks and all of a sudden get them back.
I know. Yeah.
So all that's led by the governor. So we have to play by ear. If he says, hey, September is okay, then we need to start back. Okay, September the 15th, we're going to start. Then let's start school September the 15th and work out a schedule on the other end.
All right.
Different options. And I think that next steps, I think that's it. Any questions?
So I know this came in as a question ahead of time, but it wasn't on an agenda item. So it would have come at the end of our agenda, but it's on this topic. And that is graduation requirements, end of course exam. You know, what is happening with like a 9th grader who's taking algebra and should pass an end of course exams as a graduation requirement? You know, what is it that the ODE has decided to do with that, and how can we reassure our parents that our kids are going to be on track for graduation?
Right now, ODE has not given out any guidance for that. The only thing they just say students do not have to take the test. So eventually we can get an email tomorrow stating that, hey, maybe in the summer they'll take it or not. I'm not sure, but right now there's no guidance on any of those tests they're taking in. So currently now we're just want to get them the summer learning opportunities to say, if you're behind, keep with us, because we're not sure. They may say, hey, you're going to take that test another year from now. So we need to get our students up and ready for it. But there has not been any guidance from the Ohio Department of Education regarding those tests you have to take.
Does that, I mean, it answers it, but it doesn't answer it.
I know, but I have to wait till, because all changes, even with evaluations and everything else. It's all this is new to us. We're not sure.
Right. All right. Any other questions, comments, suggestions?
I do want parents to know that we're working with it, and we're going to work with all the students. And this last couple weeks, or last 4 weeks or so, it's not going to hurt students. We have encouraged our parents to know that continue to work. It's only going to enhance the child's grade, only going to enhance their performance. So grading system we have not worked with yet and not figured out yet, but just they need to continue with the work, continue working along. And we understand that some of them are turning in, some are not, but we're going to work with our students and our parents.
I think we need to give a shout out to the parents who are, as the teachers are put in this new situation of trying to teach in a different way, the parents are being put in a different situation of dealing with their kids in a very different way. And
yes,
it's really, yeah, Jason, it's different. It gives us an appreciation of our teachers. But at the same time, it can really drain you emotionally. So my sympathies go out to parents, and we will try again. Like I said, if you have some suggestions, if you have some worries, contact the district, contact the principal, contact your teachers. All right, we shall move on if there's nothing else.
That's it in my report.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and.
We should acknowledge that Tim joined the meeting.
Yeah.
Tim,
how are you? Did you want to?
I'm doing good. I'm sorry I was late.
Yeah, you missed the whole facilities thing.
Yeah, I'm sure I did.
Is there anything you wanted to add to possibly?
No, I was just asked to give you guys an update, and I'm happy to do that. Let you know that the site contractor has been on site every day. We missed a few days because of rain. We're progressing well. We've moved the bid date from May 1st to May 8th because of the number of questions that we received on the bid packages, but it's turned out to be a good thing because we're getting more bidders, and that's good. That's encouraging. We want as many bidders as we can possibly have.
Mhm.
They were on site today and started geosized the testing company, and they started testing the subgrade for the building pad in the road. The building pad seems real good. There's a small issue on the road that they're going to get back to us. By the road, I mean the old track, the area that travels around the back. So I haven't gotten a report, but we'll see what happens in the next couple of days on that. We plan to have the bid packages into your hands. Maybe Dr. Hall can help me with this because we're trying to get it around the Memorial Day holiday. We don't want to say we have to do it by a certain date. We certainly want to get it so that we could start with the big construction package of the school by the 1st of June.
I think we still had May the 22nd, Tim. On Friday, we'll meet at 5:30 and the board will approve those items.
22nd on Friday
Yes.
at 5 p.m.
5:30.
5:30.
At 30. Okay.
I'm not sure if that's was a date you agreed on, but Dan said it was okay. So
Yeah. The only one I have to make sure too is okay because she has to do all the math to be able to present it to you guys. But we'll get through that. We'll all get in an email chain and we'll send that to you tomorrow. So that's all I really had to report. I didn't know if you guys had any questions for me.
Yeah. Anything? I'm good. Thank you.
Okay.
thanks, Tim.
If you
All
don't
right.
need me anymore, I'll excuse myself then.
All right.
Okay.
Thanks, Tim.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tim.
Nice to see you all. Stay safe.
You too. All right. So can everybody see the agenda? No. Oh, that's right. It stopped sharing.
I see a sliver of your
Yeah.
camera screen.
Did you see it before? Give me a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was there for a second, and then I moved it. And now I don't have any of my controls. There they are. Is it there now?
Yes.
All right. So moving on to action items. Board items, approval of the March 25th special session minutes moved. And I need a second. There's Ken. Just two. Yeah, there we go. Does Bob get that, or got Ann moved, Ken seconded? Let's go ahead and call the roll.
I think Bob's going to need by the mic.
Yeah.
You're here, right?
I can hear you. You might have to switch back with Bob so you
Gotcha.
can call the roll and all that.
I got it. Dr. Regis,
Yes.
Dr. Stanley,
Yes.
Ms.
There you go.
Sham,
Yes.
Mr. Williams,
Yes.
Dr. Brony.
Yes.
Okay.
Motion carried.
All right. Board item B, approval of the resolution determining to submit. This is the renewal of an existing tax levy.
So moved.
Ann moves. Ken seconds. Faster fingers, Jason. Sorry. Any questions, comments?
So I asked if either Bob or David could talk about for both of these, just kind of clarifying what
Mhm.
the renewals, but what it is that this funding actually accomplishes for the district.
This brings in It's a levy that brings in $940,000 to the district, and most of that goes towards salary and benefits for the employees.
Mhm. All right. And it is a renewal. It is something we are already paying.
Yes. So
Yeah.
five-year renewal.
All right. Let's call the roll.
Dr. Regis,
Yes.
Dr. Stanley,
Yes.
Ms. Shum,
Yes.
Mr. Williams,
Yes.
Dr. Brony.
Yes. Item C, approval of the resolution declaring it necessary to renew an existing 2 mil tax levy for the purpose of general permanent improvements and requesting Lorraine County to do this.
So moved.
Yeah, thank you.
Second.
Second, Jason. All right. And if somebody, again, as Ann said, could speak to
Yes,
what
this
it does.
permanent improvement levy brings in 2 mills, and we use this for anything that can be capitalized over 5 years, mostly on roof repairs, boilers, equipment for the district, textbooks, buses. And again, this is a 2 mil levy that currently, since the community so graciously passed the building project levy, that we're only collecting 1 mil of the 2 mills.
All right, thank you.
So one thing, just to kind of clarify, mostly for Dion's sake, is that, so this is, we have to put these renewals on the agenda like now, and do we still take another vote on it as well?
Yes, this one is to ask the county auditor to provide certification to tell us how many mills it's going to actually go on for and how much it's going to produce. And then the next one will be the ballot language that will actually go on the November ballot.
When does that second one need to be passed?
By August 7th, I think, this year.
And you had something?
Well, the only thing I was going to say is that what this does is it, in my opinion, this gives visibility. Not only does it put us in line with what we need to do for the like technical requirements for this, but this also gives visibility to the fact that we do have these 2 renewals to the community. And so the community members get this notification, and then again in August, they have plenty of time to come and talk to us if they have concerns about this or questions. That's why I really wanted to hear from what these were for, because I know I get lots of questions about, so what do we use this money for? Like, what should I vote yes on this one? So
the answer to that is yes. Yeah.
I think there are 2 things we want to continue to tell the community. One is, you know, we have a lot of buildings to maintain. Now down to 4 because the Pleasant Street will be down to 4 when that's raised. But the other is that we will continue to collect only 1 mil of those 2 mills. There's no reason to change that. But actually, we weren't allowed to put it. My understanding is we weren't allowed to put it on as a 1 mil and still call it a renewal. So this is just
right. Right.
No change. But yeah, we have a lot of maintenance, of course.
All right. If there's nothing else, I don't see any hands. Let's call the roll.
Dr. Regis,
Yes.
Dr. Stanley,
Yes.
Ms. Shum,
yes.
Mr. Williams,
Yes.
Dr. Brony.
Yes. Next on the agenda, treasurer's items. A, B, C, and D.
So
Moved and second. Dion gets second. All right.
Okay, we're 83% through the school year, and really, when you look at our 73% through and through March, and if you looked at the treasurer's report, all funds with encumbrances, we're at 72.78%. So we're right on schedule with our 5-year forecast. Other than that, the pipeline coalition is in full bloom. We've got, I think as of today, we have 29 school districts, with more putting it on the ballot with the coronavirus. It's moved a lot of board meetings around. So boards are just now passing a resolution that we asked them to pass in March. We have met with OASBO, BASA, and OSBA, and they're looking for this coalition to provide them direction on what they need to push legislature for, to make sure that other school districts down the road, if more pipelines come in or electric plants, so that districts have a more solid foundation, since right now the pipeline can appeal and we have no say in the matter, and we're not allowed to bring lawsuits against them or anything. Only the county auditor is allowed to do that, and they can't join together to do it. They all have to do it individually. So that's what we're really working on, is legislation, so that we can get this adopted, so that in the future it's going to help school districts, and currently ours. But they did pay the minimum of their second proposal. So, and I have set that up in a reserve in the general fund, and it will produce around, right now at the lower rate, about $350,000 semi-annually.
So Bob, correct me if I'm wrong, but the result of the fact that they're assessed at one value and they're paying at a lower value is that, in fact, we won't actually get 940,000 out of that 5 mil emergency levy. Is that correct?
That is, depending when the state tax, they're supposed to rule on this in June. So we will have correct numbers for next year, so that we will, but this year, correct. If they go down to the smaller percent, we will not receive the full emergency levy for first half and second half of 2020.
It's just it's a weird situation, that because they're, and I don't know the numbers, but they're assessed at a value that's much higher than what they're planning to pay.
Yes,
And
they're assessed right now at 30 million, and that's what the 940,000 was built on. And they're asking for it to be reduced 53%, down to about 18 million.
And frankly, given what's happened to natural gas prices, I suspect that they'll get pretty close to that.
That we won't know right now. The last word we got was last week, and they said they're on schedule to make a decision by June 30th. So we should know by June 30th.
Yeah, I think personally, I think that the timing of this collapse in the national gas prices may hurt us, and it'll hurt us for many, many years, even if natural gas prices go right back up. But that's life.
Yes. Any questions on the treasurer's report? Item B is appropriations. When Angela did appropriations, she didn't know that we were going to transfer the $1.5 million to the building fund, and also setting up the reserves. So I needed to adjust the appropriations. We also got an increase in one of our federal grants and got a new federal grant this year. So I need to increase those appropriations. And also the building project, she didn't appropriate the full amount. And since now that we're going to approve that next month, we need to be able to appropriate it in June. So I had to raise that fund also. And none of it changes our certificate of revenue. It's all below the certificate of revenue. So we're just changing our appropriations. And the final one is approving the tax levies. And those were presented by the county auditor. So it's just approving the tax rates that are done every year this month. And then we also had donations from Marvin Gordon Lickey of a piano to the high school that was valued at $8,000.
It's always nice. The community's always been very generous. All right, questions Anything? I do have one question, and that is what we're going to get from, as Ken pointed out, from the emergency and from the pipeline. It's probably not what we have been planning on. It's probably also the case that we're not going to get as much income tax coming up.
I'm working on the 5-year forecast currently for May's approval. Ken and I have met twice on it. They're saying income tax will probably be down 20 to 30%. I'm thinking closer to 20, which will cost the district about $1 million. We will also lose about 90,000 in lottery money because the Ohio lottery is down about 40% right now. So yes, we are working all that. I have been on many Zoom meetings with them talking about it. I have another one set up next week. So just, I'm getting as much input as I can from people around the state on where they think everything is going to fold. Luckily, we don't have to do a state budget, but they could always amend it for next year. I mean, currently we're being funded at 2019 rates for next year, and hopefully the state doesn't do something to change that.
So not that we don't have enough to worry about or to try to plan for, but are we planning? So revenues are going to go down.
Yes.
Are we thinking about and possibly acting on reducing the expenditures?
Yes, we have been meeting with the other administrators about staffing levels in buildings and making sure that everything is accounted for. And we're also negotiating with the unions to do MOUs if need be, to RIF outside of the normal RIF. Depending how we come back to school could affect a lot of classified workers. So yeah, that's all up in the air right now, but the union has been very cooperative and we thank them for that. We are in the process of negotiations too. So,
I mean, not that utilities is a huge proportion of our budget, but are we saving anything in those because we're doing nothing with our buildings?
We are, I mean, you still have to heat them, but we're not heating them up to classroom. We are saving some lights, but we also have added expenses that we didn't know that we were going to have in extra copy papers. When we did all the packets, we've had two mailings out to all the families. So phones aren't being used as much. So, I mean, we are weighing it all together. And like I said, right now we are on projections to be where we're at. So that this year's 5-year forecast shouldn't look any worse. I'm still waiting on this last quarter of income tax should come in tomorrow. We did receive our portion of the $1.6 billion from Workman's Comp today. That came in at about $45,000. So that's an added income that we weren't looking for.
All right. Anybody else? Questions, comments?
You asked the ones I emailed him, so good.
Oh, did I? All right. We're on the same page. All right. Let's call the roll.
Dr. Regis?
Yes.
Dr. Stanley?
Yes.
Ms. Sham?
Yes.
Dr. Williams?
Yes, I'll take
Dr.
that.
Brony? Sorry.
Yes.
Motion carried. Here's Dr. Hall.
All right. Superintendent consent items A through E8. Moved.
Second.
All right.
Okay.
Ann and Jason. All right, Dr. Hall, it's all yours.
All right, item A is approve of the healthcare process. B is approve of West Roofing. West Roofing is doing working on section 4 of Oberlin High School roof. Item C is approve of schoolhouse technology quote. That should provide 18 smart boards, interactive panels for Oberlin High School and also Langston Middle School to replace some boards.
Ann, you had something?
I was saying when I asked earlier today, I was told that all 18 of those were going to Langston and that there would be another, this was part of the technology plan and just next year for the high school.
Okay. I think Steve said out of 18, some of them are going to Oberlin High School, some are going to Langston Middle School. Replace several past life cycle boards, and our current boards, or some of the boards are no longer compatible with our computer hardware.
Oh, yeah.
We just confirmed that with Super Steve.
I can't believe they weigh 400 pounds.
Oh, jeez.
That's what the thing that holds it up has to be able to hold 400 pounds is what it said.
Wow.
Jeez. Okay. Item D is approval of Lorraine County's annual occurrence, the health department for our nurses. We'll see how that's going to work in the fall. Item E is approval of personnel reports. These are administrative contracts. These are per administrative guidelines. Item 2 is recommends continuing OPC contracts. Item 3 is the 2-year OPC contracts. Those are per statute, they automatically happens. Item 4 is continue double OEA contracts. Item 5 is limited double OEA contracts. Item 6 is the non-renewal of all classified supplemental contracts. These are coaches that are working that won't be back for next year, and these are supplemental contracts are from year to year, but the board has non-renewal. Item 7 is non-renewal of home instruction tutors, which this is something that we approve every year.
So
And-
David, 6 and 7 doesn't mean they're not going to be with the district anymore. It just is a pro forma thing that we have to do every year.
Yes, the statute, we have to non-renew them, but we'll bring them back. We can bring some of them back next year to have to reapply.
Okay. Yep.
Item 8, I hate to do this one, but Justin Bowe has resigned from our sign language teacher. He's moving to another position, which has nothing to do with the district. He's just moving closer to where he lives. So we will be posting a sign language position for the district. Question approval item A through
E8. Nothing? I see no hands.
My questions ahead of time. So.
All right, great. Thank you. Roll call.
Dr. Regis,
Yes.
Dr. Stanley,
Yes.
Ms. Sham,
Yes.
Mr. Williams,
Yes.
Dr. Baroni.
Yes.
Motion carried.
All right. Item 7, comments, discussion, board updates. Ms. Sham, you want to start us off?
Sure. The 2 links that are listed there are things that came from Dr. Hall and Mr. Reinhardt. So there are resources that are being provided by the state to help with coronavirus or COVID related concerns. In addition to that, I wanted to make sure all the school board members knew that OSBA has a weekly town hall. So every Wednesday at 4 o'clock, there is a information session for school board members and employees of school districts. And, you know, they talk about a variety of different like hot topics for education that week. I'm sure we're all spending a lot of time in these kinds of things, but if you have another hour to spare and you want to sit in another Zoom meeting, you could go do for the school board as well. As far as JVS, if there's no questions about that, you know, JVS is facing all of the same circumstances that the home schools are facing as far as graduation requirements and like confusion about things. But there's an added complication for some of our kids that have requirements for hours, and you have to have hands-on experience in order to be able to get your credential. And so they're struggling through trying to figure out how to accommodate the need to accumulate those hours, like with cosmetology. Not allowed to do that right now. They're working through that. The bigger concern, as we heard from Bob related to the pipeline, the games that get played with taxes that impact schools are one of these things that really hurt us and don't get a lot of attention. You hear about like what economic development groups do in order to attract businesses or attract development. So you may have heard that the Columbia School District is being impacted. There's an Emerald golf course that's building 631 homes out there, and it impacts Strongsville and some other surrounding districts there. But 631 homes are going to be built over the next 10 years. But there's a TIF that, and so the overall impact of this project is going to cost JVS alone $586,000. And so, you know, we rely on these tax dollars. We can see by the fact that we have to pass levies to fill the gap through direct community support, because we're not getting it from the standard tax dollars. And then we lose more money because of arrangements like this. But so we just wanted to bring some visibility to the fact that, you know, over $500,000 over 10 years is being lost because of that arrangement. I mean, 631 homes is a wonderful thing, and we want that kind of development. We want more people in the districts, but it comes at a price.
Especially heavy price, because more people in the district does mean more need, you know, more JVS and for those school districts, and no money coming with it. And especially with the state giving as little support as it does now, those are tough.
Yep. Progress. That's what I've got.
Well, the endowment board obviously met via Zoom, and we had a budget of $26,499. And we had grant requests coming in a little over $30,000, so we weren't able to meet all of them, but I think we gave at least something to every single one of them, and one of those grants. They were all excellent grants. I'm not going to go through them all, but really, you know, I just want to thank all those who wrote the grants, who came up with these terrific ideas. A lot of them are ongoing, a few new ones. And of course, you know, very much appreciate fellow endowment board members who are going through all these and making these tough decisions. But and we anticipate that there will be some money that was not spent this year. I think obviously the 8th grade trip, some of the trips weren't happening, and the board will, you know, make a decision. Maybe put a little bit more into the Phoenix grant, or do another round in the fall, something like that. But yes. Anyway, I want to thank the board. Does a great job. Questions?
That's great.
Yeah, that's a great board to be on. That's a lot of fun.
It is.
Yeah.
Thank you for letting me be on that board.
You're welcome. All right, item 8, hearing of the public on other items. I heard at the beginning that we didn't have anybody submit. Is that the case?
We'll confirm. No, nothing.
Okay,
That's fine.
we also connect with the public, and we can act as proxies. Has anybody heard anything that's worth conveying?
I already did.
Yes, you did. That was good. All right. Future meetings. Their May 19th meeting was changed to the 22nd at 5:30. It will be Zoom. We will try to do the same thing we did here, which is post something right on the front page of the district site. And so people can watch the YouTube, and there'll also be information about how to submit issues about the agenda and about public concerns. And then the next meeting is June 16th, 6 o'clock. Again, not at the high school. We will, well, depending on how things go, how things open up, it may be at the high school. We'll see. But if not, it'll be in this form. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All right. Everybody wants to stay. There we go, Dion. Thank you. Call the roll.
Dr. Regis,
Yes.
Dr. Stanley,
Yes.
Nisham,
Yes.
Mr. Williams,
Yes.
Dr. Brony.
Yes.
Motion carried.
All right. We are adjourned. Thank you all, and make sure the public keeps in touch with us.
Sounds good. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Stay safe.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Stay safe.
All right.